Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 66 of my story. So, for the most part, 2020 came in as normal. I was expecting 2020 to be a big year for me. I was excited that I had done some time now. I had adjusted to prison life. And so at that point, I was ready to take part in as many programs as possible, bring programs to the compound, and do whatever. But no one was ready for the bombshell that was about to be dropped on us while we were incarcerated. So I remember speaking to my mom. My mom was telling me all this stuff about the coronavirus and how it was coming over here to the United States. They were going to bring it over here, watch and see, and people were going to get sick over here too now. But I really didn't pay too much attention to it because a normal day after my sister had sent that email over to me, talking about basically a national shutdown for the whole BOP, something that had never been attempted before. There wasn't much guidance on how this was going to take place, only that the virus had started to spread to the United States now. So everybody's at work going about their day, and out of nowhere, we're all called back from our jobs and told to come back to the compound because they're having an urgent town hall meeting at 3:30 right before the 4 p.m. count. So we all came back to the compound. So at this town hall, they basically called us all out. Everybody's there wondering like what's happening, what's going on, and they're telling us that our jobs have been canceled from here on out until they get guidance on the spread of COVID because they have had cases in the Fort Worth, Dallas area at this time. And that to call our families immediately and tell them that there is no visitation. So for the most part, everybody started getting the phone lines. The phone lines were so long. And so they shut the phones off on us and told us to go in to our rooms and prepare for count time. So of course, when I get back to my room, we're going over what they basically was telling us at this meeting. How there's no visitation. There's no movement. There's going to be 5-minute phone calls now. There's going to be emails, but we're limited to 5 minutes in a True Links room, and that we'll have to be escorted to every location that we go to. There is no laundry, and that we will be going in groups to eat lunch. And so I was like, this is really crazy. They canceled store. They basically canceled everything for us. So when you say a store is canceled and you can't go to the store in prison, everybody freak out because a lot of us, people like me, I lived off of going to commissary. I didn't live off of going eat out the kitchen. Occasionally I would go to the kitchen and eat things, but for the most part, I didn't. And so I was like, oh my God, I need to call my family and have them send me more money. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I hope this doesn't last long because we were under the impression that this was probably going to be a 2-week thing and they were going to figure out something. Well, the first day that I was in my room with my roommates and we were on this partial lockdown, they did come by and let us go room to room and use the phone for 5 minutes. Then over to the email to use the email for 5 minutes and then back to our room again. And it was like the longest day of my life in prison. And so I couldn't imagine at that time if I was going to be in that room for 2 weeks, what was I going to do? Just listen to an MP3 player and music all day because we didn't have TVs in our rooms, and now they locked the TV rooms on us. So I remember after the second day of being locked down in my room and just feeling like the walls was closing in on me, that there was a knock on my room door at night, and one of the sanitation girls who had come from across the street that was at the camp now said, is Bush in this room? And I was like, yes, me. And she was like, can you come with me? And so it was odd to me, like, why is she calling me out? And so I went with her and she said, somebody wants to talk to you. And so she takes me to the camp administrator's office, and the camp administrator tells me to come in and have a seat. This is late night, around like 9 o'clock. So I go inside her office and I sit down and I have a seat. And she started asking me questions about myself. She was like, well, I will tell you this, that we're on lockdown and it's probably only going to get worse before it gets better. Somehow your name has been brought to my attention, and I'm thinking that she's going to say something bad, and I know I haven't done anything. And she's basically like, I heard that you're like a model inmate and that you're someone that could be trusted. And we're trying to put together a sanitation crew to run this compound while we are going through this lockdown. And so I would like to offer you that job. And so I was like, okay, so what would this job entail me doing? And she was basically like, you're going to work with staff. You're going to be allowed out of your room all day. You can make phone calls whenever you need to. You can use email whenever you need to. Of course, it's going to entail you having to do a lot of work. And so I was like, okay, well, it doesn't matter. I'm a hard worker. I don't mind. I'm up for the job. And so she gave me a form and told me she was going to call me out the next day and that she was going to take me over to my counselor so he can sign this form so that they can hire me on this other job, which would now I would go from being a camp orderly to working for sanitation, because no other jobs on the compound is allowed to have movement or to go to work. So I was so grateful when I went back to my room. They was like, what did they want, Bush? Why did they call you out? Coming back to my room, and I'm telling my roommates, guess what? They're putting together a sanitation crew for the compound, and she's saying it's only going to be like 5 inmates, and I'm one of the people that was chosen. And my room was so happy. They was like, oh, thank God, you're going to be able to help us. If you're going to be on the compound, you can pass our letters, you can bring us ice, you can bring us water. Like, they basically telling me all these things that I'm going to need to be able to do to just to take care of my room. And I'm basically like, well, yeah, if they allow me to do it, then I'm going to do it, but I don't want to mess this job up, because right now I'm gonna be able to be out on the compound. And so I'm just telling this, and they're so amazed at the fact that, you know, I'm gonna be able to have movement. And they asking me, hey, how long they say this is gonna last, like what's going on, did they tell you anything? And I'm basically saying they didn't give me much information, basically that as details come into them and it's made available to them, they'll make it available to us, but that I'll be working alongside staff and stuff, and that I'm gonna get this form signed by my counselor tomorrow, and that somebody from the military base is gonna come over and talk to us, and they're gonna give us a class on sanitizing and bring us over chemicals that kill coronavirus and stuff. And so they was like, oh, okay, all right then. What did they say when we were gonna be coming off a lockdown? I'm like, no, like they really don't know. They're just waiting to hear something from the people that's over them. So I remember the next day they did come to my room. They knocked on the door, and I met with a lady that was from the Air Force. Me and these 2 other people they picked another lady to come out to work. And so the lady was basically telling us, oh, well, right now there's no vaccination against this coronavirus, but we do want y'all to all have the hepatitis C vaccination. And so she was like, it's going to be 3 doses. And so I didn't know anything about this coronavirus and stuff, and so I was like, okay, yeah. I gave us papers on this virus and how it spread, and there was like, y'all gonna have to do constant temperature checks every day, just like staff, and basically whatever staff needs y'all to do, that's what y'all gonna have to do. And I didn't realize just how serious this job was gonna end up being for me. But at that time, I was just happy that I wasn't going to be stuck in a room like everybody else. I was used to getting up, going to work, moving around, you know, doing stuff that I wanted to do that would help my day pass by. And now I was being told that we're going on a national lockdown just like the rest of the country.